Meeting. Good evening. I call to order this regular meeting of the Minnehaha County Planning Commission and will begin with a few introductory comments. As a courtesy to everyone in the meeting room tonight, please make sure that all cell phones are turned off. Please note that tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be recorded live and available for viewing by the members of the public afterwards on the www.minnehahacounty.org site. In observance of the CDC guidelines for social distancing, tonight's meeting is taking place simultaneously within the County Commission meeting room and virtually within a Zoom meeting room online. In the Zoom meeting room, each individual user on the line will be on mute to maintain communication clarity for everyone. Every item listed on the agenda will be read separately. If any member of the public wishes to be heard on an item, you may raise your hand while I read the item description. If hands are raised, we will follow our normal hearing procedure by requesting planning staff to present a report on each item, and then request the petitioner to come to the podium and make a statement or answer any questions. Anyone from the audience wishing to address an item shall be recognized by the planning staff in the order hands were raised and state their name and address for the record. The Planning Commission will then discuss the matter and take appropriate action. For those participating remotely, please make sure that you raise your hands in the Zoom program, and you will be addressed on an individual basis. First on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on the item that is not on the agenda? Please raise your hand, and if you are attending remotely, you'll be unmuted for comment.
No hands are raised.
Thank you, David. The first item number 1 on the agenda, is the minutes from the January 25th Planning Commission meeting. Are there any comments or changes to the minutes?
I move approval of the minutes. This is Jeff.
Michael, second.
This is Randall, the second.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the minutes of the January 25th meeting. Roll call vote. Jeff Barth?
Aye. Aye.
Doug Odie? Mike Ralston?
Aye.
Becky Randall?
Aye.
Ryan Vanderflit?
Aye.
The minutes of the meeting have been approved. Now, items 2 through 6 are conditional use permits. Any final action taking on the conditional use permits tonight will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of the Planning Commission's decision is filed in the Planning Office by Monday, March 1st at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the County Commission for a hearing on Tuesday, March 16th, 2021, at or after 9 a.m. The affected parties will be notified of the meeting date, and the meetings of the County Commission are held in this same room. Next, I will read item number 2. That is conditional use permit 21-12 to transfer 3 building eligibilities from the north half, the northwest quarter, except Tract 1, Kringan's Edition, and the south half, the northwest quarter, and the northeast quarter, the southwest quarter to the northwest quarter, to the southwest quarter, all in Section 32, Township 104 North, Range 48 West. Petitioner is Rebecca Randall, or Rebecca Randall Living Trust. She's also the owner. It's about 4 miles southeast of Del Rapids.
Madam Chair, I will recuse myself from this item as a commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not voting.
Thank you. Scott Anderson, Planning Director, and thank you, Commissioner Randall, for your recusal. This is a request, a conditional use permit request to move 3 building eligibilities. They're shown on the screen for you. This is all in Section 32 of Logan Township. Generally, you can see that the area is cropland, but 2 of the eligibilities are landlocked. They're in interior quarters. And so the applicant is moving them to better access them. And when we go through this, as indicated, it's not increasing the overall density of the area. And this will allow the applicant to group them together to do a smaller subdivision if they so desire. And we have encouraged them that when they are platting the properties or the lots, that they would consider shared access. And that would be something that they would need to work with Logan Township to determine whether they would want a shared access for those lots. We are recommending approval of conditional use permit 2112, with two conditions. One, that a right to farm notice be placed on the platted lots, and the second one, that the applicant work with Logan Township to identify the location of the driveways. I can show you pictures. Basically, it's fields. It was pretty snowy when I was out there, so.
Madam Chair, this is hardly our first eligibility rodeo. I wonder if anyone is opposed to this, or if we might expeditiously move ahead.
I agree. Unless anybody has any questions for the petitioner.
No hands are raised.
Okay.
Is
Is that a
there
motion,
anyone
Jeff?
opposed? Absolutely, I'll make a motion to approve conditional use permit 21-12.
Doug Odie will second that.
A motion and a second to approve the conditional use permit 21-12. Roll call vote. Jeff Barth,
Aye.
Adam Moorhauser,
Aye.
Doug Odie.
Aye.
Mike Ralston.
Aye.
Becky has recused herself, and Ryan Benefit.
Aye.
Okay, that conditional use permit has been approved. Scotty, you ready for item 3? Okay.
The applicants are here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Conditional use permit, 21-13 to transfer one building eligibility from the southeast quarter to the southwest quarter, to the southeast quarter, all in Section 3, Township 103 North, Range 49 West. Petitioner is Sophia Vanderdusen. Property owner is Sophia and Daniel Vanderdusen. They're 2 miles east of Baltic.
Yes, thank you. Once again, this is a conditional use permit request to move one building eligibility. The property is located approximately 2 miles southeast of Baltic, and the parcels are relatively flat. This is the location generally of the new dairy, Driftwood Dairy, that's being constructed in the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter. And the applicants are moving that building eligibility further to the west, which is moving it further away from the animal confinement operation that is being constructed there. It doesn't increase any of the density of that area, and it's a better use of that. Once again, we are recommending approval of conditional use permit 2113 with two conditions: that right to farm notice be placed on the property when it's platted, and second of all, that they work with Sverdrup Township to obtain the location of the driveway before a building permit is issued. And I can show you a couple of pictures, but so basically you can see the dairy in the background, and they're moving it into this field. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you have, and the applicants are here. Thank you for waiting.
Any questions for Scott?
Is there anyone opposed to this?
Any hands raised?
No hands are raised. Oh, we have one hand. Sandy Johnson?
Yes, I was under the impression that this was going to be a house rather than a dairy building.
Madam Chairman, would you like me
Go
to
ahead.
answer that?
Go ahead, Scott.
So the applicant is moving the building eligibility from the dairy location to the 40-acre parcel that's to the west. So the request is for eventually going to be a residence.
Did that answer your question?
Hey, thank you. That clarifies it quite a bit.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yes, it sure does. Thank you very much.
Make a motion to approve conditional use permit 21-13, and this is what my life is like.
We'll second the conditional use 21-13.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve conditional use permit 21-13. Any further questions or comments? Roll call vote. Jeff Barth,
Aye.
Adam Moorhauser,
Aye.
Doug Odie, Mike Ralston, Becky Randall,
Aye.
Ryan Bedford.
Aye.
That conditional use permit has been approved. You're free to go. Item number 4, conditional use permit 21-14 to transfer 3 building eligibilities from the south quarter. There's an exception of Lot H1 and except Track 1, Tri-Valley Edition, into the parentheses, to the southeast quarter, all in Section 11, Township 103 North, Range 51 West. Petitioner is David Stageberg. Property owner is the same, it's 3.5 miles south of Colton. Scott?
Yes, thank you. Scott Anders again, Planning Director, and on the screen in front of you, you can see the request to move 3 building eligibilities to near the intersection and along basically the county highway. The property is located generally next door to Tri-Valley School to the east. This is generally a farming area, and there is an existing farmstead you can see located already along there. This would provide better access to County Highway 118, and the new location of the building eligibility should not impact the density of this quarter section, and it would allow better access to the highway. We are recommending approval with the 2 conditions that, for conditional use permit 2114, that a right to farm notice be placed on the newly platted lots when they are platted, and before a building permit's issued. And second, that Grand Meadow Township be contacted, and that they get approval from Grand Meadow Township for the location of the driveways before a building permit is issued. I'd be glad to answer any questions, and here's the pictures of the area. This shows basically where those are located, and the shelter belt is to that existing farmstead that was to the north.
Any questions for Scott?
No hands are raised.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the conditional use permit 21-14.
Do we know if anyone's opposed? Doesn't look
Is
like
there
it,
any, well, he said there was
No
no.
hands are raised.
He said no hands were raised.
but in the,
Oh, I think, Scott, do you know if there's any?
okay,
Oh, okay,
call the question. That means we have to vote.
yes. Let's see what he says here. I had a motion and a second, and it's a roll call vote. Jeff Barth,
Aye.
Adam Moorhauser,
Aye.
Doug Odie,
Aye.
Mike Ralston,
Aye.
Becky Randall,
Aye.
Ryan Vanderflit.
Aye.
This item has been approved. You're free to go.
Thanks for staying an hour and a half.
Sorry. 5, conditional use permit 21-15 to transfer 1 building eligibility from the northwest quarter, the southeast quarter, to the southeast quarter, and the southeast quarter, all in Section 20, Township 102 North, Range 50 West. Petitioners Richard and Nancy Van Herd Living Trust, property owners the same, 3 miles west of Sioux Falls.
Good evening, Planning Commission. David Heinold, County Planning Department. The petitioner is requesting to transfer building eligibility. This is approximately halfway between Hartford and the city of Sioux Falls, just north of Interstate I-90. There are no concentrated animal feeding operations within a mile of this site. The petitioner is requesting to move the existing building eligibility from a landlocked location to an area along 260th Street, east of the creek area there, as you see on the map, outlined in red. The site is appropriate for the placement of a single-family dwelling, and staff is recommending approval of conditional use permit 21-15 with two conditions, and I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions for David? Kevin, anybody on Zoom?
No hands are raised on Zoom.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'm making a
Doug?
motion to approve conditional use 21-15.
I'll second that.
Go ahead.
I have a motion and a second to approve conditional use permit 21-15. Any further questions or comments?
Is it at the end of the runway?
Roll call vote. Jeff Barth,
Aye.
Adam Morhauser,
Aye.
Doug Odie,
Aye.
Mike Ralston,
Aye.
Becky Randall,
Aye.
Brian Vanderflut.
Aye.
Conditional use permit 21-15 has been approved. You're free to go. Item number 6. Item number 6 is a conditional use permit 21-16 to expand existing rock extraction quarry on the property legally described as Lot 3, exception H-1, southwest quarter, northeast quarter, the west 1,534-04 feet, except the south 1,703-78 feet, and the north 1,875.55 feet, the east 413-2 feet, the west 1,947.24 feet, and the north 66 feet. There's an exception of the west 1,947.24 feet, the southeast quarter, the west 1,534.04 feet, the south 1,703.78 feet, the southeast quarter, lots 1, 3, and 4, Royalwood Addition, the southwest quarter, all in Section 27, Township 101 North, Range 48 West. The petitioner is LG Everest, Chris Klein. They're also the property owners located 3 miles east of Sioux Falls. David?
Good evening, Planning Commission. David Heinold, County Planning Department. Hold on one second. Oh. There we go. Out of the way. David Heinold, County Planning Department. The petitioner is requesting to expand an existing rock quarry. This is located along South Dakota State Highway 42. It's just about 2 miles east of the city of Sioux Falls, and is outlined in red, as you see on the attached map, which covers a pretty expansive area between the county highway to the west, and then the state highway to the north, and then the almost to the township road on the east side, and then as well on the south side as well, in Split Rock Township. The narrative states that the proposed additions to the processing, extraction, and backfill operations will add approximately, this is a total of 147.28 acres to the existing 143-acre mining area, which the total rock extraction request for this conditional use permit is to add approximately 32.7 acres in size. And the petitioner has supplied a site plan showing that the expansion area for what is to be where the rock extraction would take place. Staff has reviewed some of the requests that the petitioner has provided in the narrative as far as sand and gravel extraction that has occurred on the site historically, and reviewed prior conditional use permits, which we do not have any currently for that particular use. Mainly the area, as you see, up towards the north side of, there we go. So the north side of what would be the proposed rock extraction area, as I'm outlining right here, is about the 32.7 acres. This is an existing area where there's currently sand and gravel, as you'll see in some of the pictures that I took, which is covered in snow, but it's mostly pond areas filled with water. And there's also a stream running through there. But that area is mostly tied to this directly right here. So with that, the applicant is among the mining boundary request to expand the area. They are also requesting to revise the hours of operation to expand upon what the current hours of operation to go an hour earlier Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays would be an hour earlier and an hour later on those Saturdays. So in number 2, extend the maximum depth of excavation by 310 feet. So it would actually go deeper to an elevation limit of 900 feet, below the current elevation limit of 1,210 feet. Number 3 that they were requesting is to revise the references to the blast control plan. Basically they delivered their own report as far as LG Everest. Number 4 is to remove the restriction for a permanent concrete or asphalt mixing plant. And there's one currently located towards the entrance of the site. 5, modify 12.08 additional consideration regarding the maximum bench heights for the site. And then I'm going to go through some of the additional maps that the petitioner has provided. As you can see here, this shows the access to South Dakota State Highway 42, and then the main office building area, the employee parking, the scale, and then off in the distance you can see some of the piles there. And then this is what is located as the temporary asphalt batch plant on the site now. This shows the topography of the area. As you can see, there's some depressions there where the pictures would show that in the northwest corner, and then you see the main rock extraction quarry area right there, as noted. The existing conditions of the site is basically you'll see the Bixby River's there. You'll see there's a stream that runs through here. There's a culvert under the county highway, as well as one that runs from the state highway to the north of this site. The petitioner has provided a current limits map as far as, and it lists out the different current extraction limits, the processing areas, as you see on the map, as I've already highlighted before when I went through the entrance area. And you can see their notation of the current sand and gravel limit. The petitioner has also supplied a map for a proposed drainage realignment. As you can see on this map, the current waterway runs directly through where the proposed rock extraction area would be on the corner there, and it runs this way towards, so this would be the proposed alignment along the boundary of their subject property. So groundwater monitoring is another map that they provided as far as the wells in the area, as far as monitoring the groundwater in the area. As you can see, there are several that are located in this area to the south. You can see there's one located to the west along that property boundary. And then there's one that's located back towards the office. And then there's a couple in the subdivision to the northwest. And there's also a couple down further to the south. There's some property that the petitioner owns to the south as well. So the petitioner has provided a screening plan. As far as the zoning ordinance is concerned, the zoning ordinance outlines that screening is to be implemented before any extraction operations can be implemented. As you see now with the existing berms and trees that are around the property, If this request is to go forward, they will remove the trees and the berms along here to make way for that proposed area. And some of the berms have already been constructed around the county highway and the township road here. In addition to that, along the state highway, there is to be a proposed tree belt there to protect the screening there, as the petitioner has brought forth a plan to one of the sites for the proposed permanent asphalt or concrete batch plant. And then finally, the reclamation plan of what this would look like once this is all completed. Basically, you see a reservoir there for what the applicant lists as potential or future development. So next, I'm going to go through some of the pictures of the site. As you can see, there's the existing rock extraction area with the different benches. As you can see, there's different varying heights there, as the petitioner has mentioned in their application. This picture shows that a little bit better as far as the heights, and they can go into more detail about existing operations. This shows so I'm looking from, there's a kind of a gravel access road from the main pit area. So as you continue along here, this is looking south towards, as you can see, there's a pit, there's a kind of a depression there where the sand and gravel mining occurred historically. So this next picture shows this would be the nearest residential property, which would be just over 1,000 feet by my calculation, according to the site plan they provided. You can kind of see there's a fence line here, and on the other side of this is an existing cornfield. And what I'm standing on right now, you can see in a couple of the next pictures, there's some Sioux quartzite rock outcroppings there. This is looking towards the northwest. You can see there's an existing commercial business right there. I believe that's the Rocco's event catering business, event hall. And then further north, there's another commercial business as well. And then the culvert for the stream, existing stream. You can see more rock outcroppings. This would be looking directly towards the proposed rock extraction area. And off in the distance, you'll see the neighboring land uses. This is looking back towards the east from the same spot, looking towards that existing tree line of where the existing pit is. This is the parking area that I mentioned. As you can see, there's several cars there, which meets the ordinance requirements for the minimum amount of parking for this type of use. The temporary asphalt concrete batch plant, as you see in the distance there, as well as some of the stockpiles, quartzite. This is the existing entrance, the paved site access, hard surfaced. And this is looking back north. There's an existing tree belt along the east side of the driveway. And then this is looking back towards the site. This is one of the existing residential developments to the northeast, which is kind of a loop road there just north of the state highway. And then this is looking back at the petitioner's or the property's current signage, which meets the zoning ordinance, which one of the things that staff is recommending in the request is to limit the size according to the zoning ordinance. For the signage, the petitioner is requesting a 108 square foot sign, about, I think it was 12 feet tall. The zoning ordinance for the Red Rock Corridor Overlay District, which this property lies within, only allows up to 32 square feet and a 10-foot maximum sign. So you'll see that in the recommendations. This is just looking from the gravel road and the county highway intersection. As you can see, there's some trees, evergreen trees there with the existing berm that's planted. And then you'll see the background there. Pretty much just blue sky. So I have a couple more pictures to show you from the gravel road looking back towards the northwest. And then, so this is looking from, this is also from the gravel road, looking towards, no, excuse me, this is from the county highway, parked looking back towards the southeast, towards where that proposed extraction pit area would be. This is kind of to show the berm elevation there. The petitioner did mention when I was on site touring the property that there was, you can see that I'm kind of standing where the culvert would be. So depending on what they would do with the stream realignment, they would figure out, then they would come in and build that berm. But the zoning ordinance does require that that be in place. So this is where approximately the existing stream would be located. You can see some silt fences there. Potentially this could be where that stream could be. And I did have another picture that would show the trees. You can see, no, excuse me. So this would be the proposed area where the the drainage realignment would go. This is looking towards the barn to the north of the subject property on the adjacent property. And then you continue on. This is kind of like a levee area here. I believe there's a culvert putting under there for the stream. So they would reroute that through this area, maybe even on the north side of it, because you saw on the map, this is where those depressions were. So it would kind of go around this area right here. And then, so this is the last picture that I have. Second to last picture. This is the culvert right here. This is where the stream goes around. As you saw those trees right there, you can kind of follow it. There is where the existing stream follows. And then this is where it would empty out into the Big Sioux River to the west of the property. And so that's all the pictures that I have. Without going into too much detail, just going through the conditional use permit criteria. The effect upon the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for uses already permitted and upon property values in the immediate vicinity. The proposed use will add a comparable effect to what already occurs with the existing rock extraction pit area. The nearest single-family residences to the southwest are over 1,000 feet away, which is required by the zoning ordinance. The proposed change in hours of operation should allow better traffic management on the state highway, which is the only access to the site. 2, that the effect upon the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for uses predominant in the area. The future land use map for the Red Rock Corridor plan shows the subject property as natural resource extraction. And then the land to the north is designated in the plan for a mix of agriculture, commercial, and residential uses, as you see in this current existing period. 3, that utilities, access roads, drainage, and/or necessary facilities are provided. Petitioner has spelled out that the state highway is the only haul road access to the site, and staff has reached out to the South Dakota Department of Transportation, and they have no concerns regarding the request or the proposed expansion of the existing rock extraction site. 4, that the off-street parking and loading requirements are met. The petitioner does meet all the off-street parking and loading requirements, as you saw in the picture, for employee parking and customer parking. 5, that measures are taken to control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, and lighting, inclusive of lighted signs, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance. The applicant shall take precautions in the zoning ordinance to prevent any sound disturbances, physical disturbances, and air quality issues during operation of the rock extraction site to any adjacent property owners, and any air quality issues during operation of the extraction site to adjacent properties as is required by the ordinance. Staff suggests adding a condition requiring planning commission review of the ready-mix concrete and asphalt plant operations after a 2-year period, or if there's any complaints from any adjacent landowners that are received by the planning department. This will help to allow the planning commission to review the request if any complaints arise during operation of permanent ready-mix concrete and asphalt plant. And number 6, that the health, safety, and general welfare of the public in the comprehensive plan. Goal 5 of the environmental stewardship chapter of Envision 2035 comprehensive plan states that recognize that sand and gravel and rock deposits are within the county, are in non-renewable natural resource and beneficial to the economy of the county and the welfare of its people. The comprehensive plan is an action statement that suggests that conflicts with existing neighborhoods should be minimized. The siting of the proposed rock extraction aims to minimize the impact on surrounding land uses with appropriate setbacks from the subject property boundaries in accordance with the zoning ordinance regulations and recommended conditions. So I've highlighted some of the conditions. Staff does recommend approval of the conditional use permit 21-16 with the following conditions, and there's a total of 27 conditions. Some of the ones I'm going to go through specifically relate to the proposed conditions that the applicant would like changed from the MC 97-83. 3, that all operations with the exception of blasting shall be restricted to the hours of 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday. And then operations shall not be conducted on the following legal holidays, and then those are listed in order. The activities such as office duties, maintenance activities which produce no adverse off-site impacts shall not be restricted by the hours of operation. 4, that the maximum depth of excavation shall be to the 900-foot elevation measured from mean sea level, provided that there's no adverse impact on groundwater elevations recorded by monitoring wells required in condition number 5. And 5 is the 7 monitoring wells shown on drawing 5 groundwater monitoring maps shall be used to routinely monitor groundwater conditions. Any monitoring well destroyed by extraction operations shall be replaced. Groundwater levels shall be measured in each well on a quarterly basis by an independent party. An annual report on monitoring activities shall be submitted to the planning department. And 6, that the blast control plan prepared by LG Everest dated January 27, 2021 shall govern blasting activities. All blast records shall be available for inspection by the planning department upon request. And number 7, ground vibration and overpressure shall be recorded for each blast by 3 seismographs. The site of the blast, distance to the residential properties, and atmospheric conditions shall determine the appropriate locations for the seismographs. Number 11, the berms and shelter areas shall be completed prior to operation of ready mix plant, asphalt plant, and rock extraction. All trees shall be maintained in a live state. 20, that the ready mix concrete and asphalt plant shall be reviewed by the April 24th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. And number 24, that the applicant shall maintain a minimum distance of 1,000 feet measured from the nearest residential single-family dwellings to the edge of the rock extraction pit. 25, the conditional use permit approved by resolution MC 97-83 dated August 28, 1997 shall be superseded by the above conditions. 26, that the total sign area shall be 32 square feet and a maximum of 10 feet tall. A sign permit must be obtained from the county planning department prior to installation. And number 27, that no sand and gravel mining shall occur in the southwest quarter, Lot 4, Royal Wood Addition, Section 27, Township 101 North, Range 48 West, Split Rock Township. And I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Jeff?
Do we think a $20,000 bond is sufficient? Or is that just what we sort of are grandfathered?
So the $20,000 surety bond is what we've historically used in the past for sand, gravel, and rock extraction.
Any other questions for David?
Oh, Madam Chair, is there a sunset clause on this? Is there a time frame to, like, on the gravel, like usually gravel pits, we have like 10 years. Is there any, do we have anything like that or not? Or is there anything like that for this rock extraction?
This particular rock extraction site doesn't have a sunset clause in it.
That
It
would
hasn't
be
in the past.
Aggregate, where we have gravel and like
Okay.
Skunk
So this
Creek.
one qualify in that then?
They can dig to China, I think.
Okay, all right.
Questions for David? Okay, is the petitioner here? Will you please come forward and state your name and address?
Good evening. I'm Rick Everest with LG Everest, 350 South Main Avenue, Sioux Falls, 57104. And I have a quick presentation here just in response to a open house we had with the neighbors on February 11th, and just some questions that the neighbors had that we might not have had the chance to address fully that evening, and just like to address the commissioners here this evening. Is it there? Yep, that's the one. Perfect, thank you. So just a little bit of history on LG Everest. Founded in 1876. We've got 2 quarries in Del Rapids. The East Quarry started mining, LG Everest started mining that in 1927. So we've got some familiarity with the business. So we did meet on February 11th with the neighbors that wanted to come to provide the information on what we're doing and what our plans are. Basically the same thing that you all have seen. We really want to be transparent with everyone and people that are concerned with what we're doing. And we aspire that this is a long-term relationship. The permit notwithstanding, we're still going to be in this location for a long time. So we do want to have a good relationship with the neighbors. We acquired the East Sioux Quarry from Merlin Roy's Paving in January of 2020 and included the parcels that we talked about before. We already know about the previous conditional use permit. Parcel 62882 is currently permitted under state license for sand and gravel extraction, and that is on the west side of the property. And the current permit was approved in '97. And there is that property that we were speaking about. We agree and accept all the staff recommendations except for number 27. So we propose to delete that from our application and revise it so that it matches to number 24. The applicant shall maintain a minimum of 1,000 feet measured from the nearest residential single-family dwelling to the edge of both sand and gravel and rock extraction. So there was some, I guess, confusion between the rock and the sand and gravel, and we're just going to concede that sand and gravel as well as the rock within 1,000 feet. And this is just a map showing the residential offsets, and this is that 1,000-foot setback that I speak about. So this area right here, there would be no mining under the, if we revise that to state, read as number 24. And we've got the Iverson Crossing neighborhood up here. That's the 1,000-foot offset from them. And this shows again the proposed rock extraction, the new area that we are amending here this evening. With that, I will introduce Doug Hoy. He's been our consultant from Sayer Associates.
Thank you. My name is Doug Hoy. I work for Sayer Associates here in Sioux Falls. I've been working with LG Everest and along with Respec, an outside consulting firm, to take a special look at the blasting operations. And I do live at 3604 South Harmony Drive in Sioux Falls. In 2020, when LG Everest took over the property, for the first probably 8 months of the year, or actually probably 4 months when they got started blasting, the blasting operations stayed pretty much the same the way they were prior to them taking over. And in August of 2020, we started looking at really taking a look at the blasting operation to see if we couldn't make some improvements. There were some things there that we felt we could improve on, And as Rick said, LG Everest wants to be a good neighbor. Again, I want to address that, RESPEC has been working with LG Everest on this, and that one of the things we have done is taken a look at the blasting operations to keep the vibration to a minimum of what's possible. And we are held to the surface mining standards, and we do use that. And there's a couple more slides here as I get down there. We have taken the time, and we do all these blasts, and the design of these blasts are planned out long in the future. As you'll see in one of the upcoming slides here, we've got the pounds per delay of explosives that we can shoot in these blasts. We've got those poundages calculated out already based on the information and the data we've received in this last year of blasting there. And so it is a continually ongoing process and continues to be refined. And the more data we collect from it, the better we can predict and the better we can adjust our blasting. We also, well, can I go on? Can we go to the next slide, please?
Could I ask you one quick question there?
Sure, Doug.
Why no permanent seismograph proposed at the Riviera?
Currently we are talking with Doug. We're in contact with Doug with Matt to get one put there. We originally didn't have one put there, but we felt that would be a good location because he actually is the closest building, will be the closest building many years out to the pit, the ultimate pit extraction. So yes, we've tried to contact Matt, but he must have some free time. But we do plan, as you'll see, we do plan to put one there. We just want to make sure that it's okay with Matt. He's expressed no concern in the past over it. We just feel it'll be another good location to put a seismograph there and to collect that close-in data, correct? Mr. Odie, yes. Just hit the up arrow here. Okay, on these sheets right here, I want to make a note that we've analyzed all the blasting data from 2019 and 2020. And on the sheet, on the graph on the left, the Isu Quarry 2 Ledge 1 monitoring data, I'd like to make note that is from 2019 as well as 2020. Now you'll notice Ledge 1 is the very top ledge. That's the ledge that starts right below the dirt. You'll notice in 2019 there was very few shots, only a couple shots from the previous owner that were shot up on the upper ledge. And in 2020, when LG Everest took over, they started shooting more in that upper ledge, a lot more shots. And as you can see, some of those initial shots for the first 4 months of the year were somewhat higher, not in exceedance of the regulations or our standards, but they were higher. Then you can see in Ledge 2, or in Ledge 1 in 2020, we shot quite a few shots there from basically about the end of August all the way through December. And as you can see by all the green dots, which are shown in the green dots, those are all the shots on Ledge 1. So in 2019, there was very little blasting done on the very top ledge. And that does make a difference for what the neighbors feel and things like that. The top ledge, usually you'll feel that a little bit more than when you get down farther. But in 2020, we realized the need to get the top ledge expanded, so there's a lot more shooting on the top ledge. Now, on the right side there, Ledge 2, you can see there in 2019, the previous owner took a lot of their shots, the red dots, out of the second ledge, Ledge 2, the ledge that's approximately 40 feet down from the top. And also when LG Everest took over in 2020, they continued to blast both on the top ledge and Ledge 2. The first half, through April through August, are shown in the yellow dots. Then you'll see about the time we really started taking a look at it and changing the blasting, changing the characteristics of the blast, the pounds per delay, and the timing, and even the spacing, and even down to the hole size. You can see how those blast results, the vibration levels dropped. On the right sheet there, I'd ask you to look at the green dot cluster. Notice how much lower those are. That's quite a significant reduction in the vibration level on that second ledge. And so in our minds, we're very much heading in the right direction on that. And then on the next sheet here, one of the criteria that the county has imposed on the LG Everest operation and requires from the USBM is do not exceed 133 decibels for any air overpressure, or that's that's like a sound wave or an air pressure wave. As you can see, looking at the graph, the left two-thirds of that graph up until September 12th, 9/12, you can see a few dots that are up there close to the 133 decibel points, especially the one about two-thirds of the way over, just below that black line. That is below 133 decibels, so none of the shots have exceeded the 133 decibels, but look just a little bit right of that. And again, we go to when we changed blast designs and really took a hard look at things, started making changes that were better for everyone. You can see those air overpressure decibels drop down below 120. So that's a good indicator too that we're heading in the right direction. And also, looking at one more slide here, we wanted to make sure, one of the questions we received was, are you planning these shots out? How do you know how much explosives to use as you progress west? Based on the criteria we received for this year and using the past criteria from the previous owner, these contours here, or these color bands, they look like little sideways V's. Those are actually the predicted pounds per delay of explosives we can shoot as we get closer to the residences to the west. And it starts out, the light blue in the very upper right-hand corner there of the colors, that's 1,058 pounds per delay. Now, we aren't even going to be close to that. That's theoretically what we could be shooting. And then as we progress it, the widths of those colors are about 250 feet. So every 250 feet, we've got to drop down. So the pink there, we get down to 640 pounds per delay. And I just want to make a note, when they started blasting in 2020, they were between that 750 and 600 pounds per delay, okay? Then in April, in August, we started taking a look at that, decided to make some changes and lower that pounds per delay. And then the next color back there is 470, and then the next one back, the tan, is 326. We pretty much lowered it down to that level right there. And that's why you see such an adjustment in the vibration levels on those previous two slides. Lowering those down, we didn't use any less pounds per hole, but we just, now instead of 750 pounds going off at one time, now there's only 350 pounds going off one time. And within each hole, there's two different timing sequences in that hole. So, but as you see, as we proceed back to the west, we go from starting out at 1,058 pounds per delay down to the very last contour, the very last shaded area red, which would be the closest to the Riviera, Mr. Odie. There, when that day comes, which is many, many, many years down the road, there we're estimating we're going to have to shoot 59 pounds per delay, okay? That takes totally different equipment, but that's to the degree that this is planned out, and so we know what we're getting into. So there has been a lot of research done, a lot of data processed, and a lot of analysis to look at how to be a good neighbor as far as the blasting vibration goes, okay? And then I just want to finish up the kind of the blasting sequence of this. Mr. Odie, this considers here, we're planning to put a new permanent seismograph there at the Riviera, at there, because we did notice that's the closest as they progress west. So that would be the best place. It'd be a good indicator. Now, we're not going to be there for a long time, but you get a feeling of how things change as you get closer. And the sooner you know how things are changing, the sooner you can adjust so everything is good and well. That's all I have to say at this point. I guess I'll turn it back over to Rick.
Madam Chair,
Jeff?
Doug, don't leave too quickly.
Okay.
I got to say that a lot of what you were pitching was hard for me to catch. I'm not a blasting engineer. Most of my explosives are above ground. At the same time, as I looked at the dates on things, I know right after the change of ownership, I got some complaints from over there in that one development to the east about the sudden increase in the vibration. And was that something that you guys did that suddenly shook up the neighborhood, so to speak?
I think what you're talking about, Mr. Barth, is for the first 4 months, say from April till August, they pretty much carried on blasting as done in the past. Then, in order to get some good information on how to change the blasting. There was one incident, I think this is maybe what you're talking about, is when
Probably.
the provider of the explosive services at that time wanted to do what's called a signature hole analysis. What they do is they go in back of the face of where they're actually active, about 100 feet, and they drill a hole down, and they loaded explosives in there, and it's totally confined. And what they did, reason they do that is we had quite a few seismographs out, and we record what the wave looks like and the frequency, the vibration.
I understand that you're just testing or measuring, but, you know, again, Iverson Crossing thought it was like a whole new deal there.
Yeah.
With much more going on.
Yeah.
If we do this expansion, will that be happening again?
No, not like it was done then. No, not like there. If it was ever done again, we would drill a hole right near the face of the quarry, right where the active open face is, and shoot one there. The explosive company at the time wanted to do it behind the face to confine it to get a reading. And yes, we did get a higher reading than what we were anticipating. Wasn't any thresholds, but yes, it was more perceptible to the residents in the area, correct. But that is not going to be the typical at all. That is very much an isolated incident.
Okay, thanks.
Okay?
Again, it's, you know, you might be talking about rugby penalties or something, and I have an idea what it might be, but I'm better at committing them than understanding them.
Yeah. If you ever have any more questions, I'd be glad to talk to you, you know, at another time. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. So like Doug said, we did switch our blasting contractor around that time. Same folks that service us up in Del Rapids, and we've been quite happy with the results. We've also extended our notifications. We made sure that we've got everyone that wants to be on the notification list, so if it goes off at noon, people know. We solidified that list. I think we've gone outside of our boundaries, and we have had very good luck with the new contractor as far as going off at noon. That was a big deal for us. So again, speaking about number 27, we wanted to change that to no sand and gravel, and I'll show you a map here in just one second. The upper quartzite bench progresses from east to west, and at least 22 years at our current mining levels before we would reach that footprint. And there's a little bit of a sequence right there, kind of hard to see. But that kind of goes hand in hand with our mine sequence here. So I will just show you real quick, if I could. Sorry, I'm trying to do this. 16.
Very top, number 16.
Oh, there we go. So this is the line as described by the county staff as no mining south of there. And then this is the 1,000-foot residential offset. So county staff recommended the quartzite extraction be included into this area, but did not include this same area for sand and gravel. We need to move that sand and gravel in order to get to the quartzite. So that's the maybe confusion there between 27 and 24. And that is all I had, if anyone has any questions.
Any questions for him?
Yeah, I got one quick one. How far down in that area do you go before you hit granite?
This area right here is anywhere from 25 to 30 feet.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have any proponents out there? Anything on Zoom?
Brent Driscoll has his hand raised.
I'm in opposition.
Okay, then to wait. We have any opponents that wishes to speak that are here in the room?
Don't be shy, I try not to be.
Brent, do you wish to speak to this item?
I do, please.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Brent Driscoll. I reside at 48068 Iverson Crossing Road. And then I also have a business located at 26655 481st Avenue, Brandon. The business is actually going to be located, it's just one lot north of the Riviera. So it's going to be in real close proximity to the western edge of their new proposal. As I read my statement, please keep in mind that the conditional use permit request is to move mining and blasting area closer to the neighboring properties. I'm here this evening to express concerns over granting a conditional use permit for LG Everest to expand the area that allows them to remove material from the quarry via blasting and to review the current conditional use permit that has affected the area. This last season, LG Everest executed multiple blasts, and all the instances that were on the west wall of the quarry caused my business structure to shake at levels that were unacceptable. Rick from LG Everest and Doug from Sayer Associates were in communication with me and other residents of the area. They would let us know when each blast was happening, and they even attempted to monitor the ground and sound wave levels that were produced for each blast. The problem with this approach is that it did not stop the damage from happening to the affected structures. 2 of the 3 blasts of the west wall created vibrations so bad that the TVs on our walls and the items on the employees' desks shook aggressively. I'm not here to stop LG Everest from extracting material from the quarry. I'm here to recommend they do it differently using options other than blasting, or if they continue to use blasting techniques, it must be at levels that do not affect any of the neighboring properties at all. We cannot continue to be the test subjects for them to get the blasting at a level that is acceptable for the community. I already have a large crack that runs along the ceiling line of our business building, and we have sheetrock screws that are already pushing out, and our structure is not even a year old. LG Everest's solution to damage happening to our structure is we will pay to have it fixed. That is not a solution. Who wants to sit by while damage is being done and then go through the hassle of tracking the damage, proving the damage was done by the blasting, and then having the business interrupted while someone comes in and attempts to fix the issue? Then if it is not fixed to a level of satisfaction, we must go back and forth with the contractor and LG Everest to get it resolved. And in the end, we have a damaged structure that is getting continually repaired. This only devalues our property. I also want to point out that my business is in a commercial plan development. When word gets out that the quarry blasting is damaging building structures in the area, our property values will go down and new tenants will be reluctant to build property at the commercial and residential developments. I ask the Commission to delay the approval of the requested conditional use permit until such time LG Everest can guarantee blasting or alternative methods will not affect neighboring structures, and review the current conditional use permit so that it can be amended to guarantee that no effects on neighboring structures. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to this item? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Vince Welch, 26695 481st Avenue.
Speak louder.
Yeah, Vince Welch, 26695 481st Avenue. So we just moved here this summer, right after LG Everest had purchased the property. So we were part of the original, or the serious blast that occurred. So the concerns that we have is the value of our property, certainly as the quarry would move west. The blasting is a concern for sure, and noise and sound pollution are concerns for us. So primarily would be the value of the property, because we're right there. So as it moves west, it would be right on top of us. So LG Everest has been great to work with. Doug has been great to work with. So they're great neighbors, but it doesn't take away the concerns that we have. So thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to this item? Address?
Tim Nicolai, 48110 Skyview Circle. Live just to the south. Been a resident out there for 30 years, so the previous owners went through kind of the same thing. We set kind of the hours of operation and were good neighbors with the previous owners in the past, and hours of operation has always been kind of a thing with the previous owners. And I would ask that LG Everest would at least consider giving us the quiet time during the hours of 7 to until 7 in the morning, and quiet time after 7. If they want to start their operations before then, but at least keep noisy parts of their operation until after the 7 o'clock hour in the morning, and the same way at night, with rock crushers, et cetera, et cetera. And as far as, you know, the traffic in the area, we still got school buses and stuff going out there picking up the children. In the morning is the last collection time. 7 o'clock is when the last of the school buses and stuff are coming through. So there is a lot of traffic and stuff out there, so I think keeping traffic to a bare minimum out there is also a concern. So, you know, whether or not we've got truck traffic on the road is also a big concern out there. The other thing is, it's a little bit of a concern to me, is most of the neighbors in that area south of the quarry have got wells because of the rock is being so close to the ground out there. Rural water is kind of hard to get to that area. So the added depth to the quarry is also a concern of mine at this point. But up to this point, Everest has been keeping us abreast on what their plans are. I think they're going to be a very good company to work with, but just would like to make sure that they, as they go forward, are kept to their promise that they're going to be working with us as good neighbors from this point forward. But my main concern is hours of operation and being a good neighbor, allowing us to enjoy our properties in our neighborhood and give us our quiet time in the morning and in the evenings to be with our families. Other than that, I'm looking forward to being a good neighbor and them being good neighbors and in the future with them. So.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that care to speak on this item? Please state your name and address.
Jeff Kreibel, Red Rock Drive, 48097. I am a homeowner, been there for about 20 years. Still concerns with the blasting. It does shake your house quite a bit. And if they continue to do this for over 27 years, to me, you would expect some kind of damage on that. And as they go further west, that's getting closer and closer to the residents as well. So we're going to deal with more of the shaking and more of the concerns of what are the after effects and what are the long-term possibilities or damages to our property. The other is, again, the concerns that were brought up before is property value. Trying to resell or have other businesses come into the area or new neighbors come into the area, that's going to be a big concern and possibly persuade people not to come into the area. The other is neighbors don't like surprises. The one that I was kind of concerned with is regards to the berm. That kind of went up very quickly and there wasn't that much notice. I know that the company has done very well in keeping us informed and also trying to explain some of the blasts and some of the things that we're experiencing. But just, again, the communication with them, I think can be a little bit better. The other one is to drop one of the requirements of 27. I would like to try to keep that in there to give us a lot more buffer between the customers and the business than just 1,000 feet. That's pushing the explosions to be a lot closer to the residents as well as to the businesses. And the things that we experience are when they start blasting on the west side, we do feel that a lot more in our houses and our homes and our businesses. Another concern that I have is the water quality. I do have also a rural water well, and with the shaking and the blast, that's going to stir up more of the water. And then also the introduction of a permanent cement plant as well as asphalt. I'm concerned about cleaning, and where does the waste in regards to that go? Does that go into the drainage ditch? Does that go down into the pit itself? How is that going to be handled in regards to that? Sorry, that's all I have at this point. Thank you.
Jeff, where's your house relative to the,
I live just to the southwest of the
closer to the
quarry.
river?
Kind of close to the river, but still closer to the quarry than the river.
Okay.
Jeff, I got one question. Have you had any damage done to your property since you've been out there for 20 years?
I noticed that there are a few cracks, and I don't know if that's from the blasting or not. The concern that I have is, over time, you are shaking the house. And when you shake the house, you're going to cause more of a settling of the house and adjustments to the house. And it's going to be at a faster rate than something that was normal house settling, so to speak. You're shaking it, so you're making the adjustments faster of that. So yes, I do see a little bit. Can I relay it specifically to the quarry? No, but the concern is always there that you feel like there's some adjustments to the house that are being made a lot sooner because of the blasting.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else like to speak for this item before I close the floor?
Sharif Welch, 26695 481st Avenue. We live in the property directly across the street from the expansion where it's coming, little rectangular plot there. We just moved from Minnesota. We found the house and moved in July. We knew that the quarry was over there, but there was the berm, the farmer's field. It looked like that's where the quarry was. Had no idea that it was going to expand. Had we known this was in the works or that it was even a possibility, that it would be moving right across the street from us, we would not have paid what we paid for the property, nor would we probably have moved there. So I echo what they're saying about property value. I did a little research, different places where quarries have come in and crossed the street from homes, and directly adjacent from the quarry, a property can decrease by 30%. So I have appreciated working with Everest. However, for the record, I guess I would just say that it's not necessarily a good neighbor thing when a neighbor moves into the neighborhood and your property value decreases. And I'm sure you could all agree with that is kind of a tough pill to swallow. So for the record, I just want to put that down there. And it would be certainly a concern. And so therefore, then property tax values would go down. And I'm not sure how all this works. I've never been to one of these meetings before, but I just, for the record, needed to state my major concern about property value. So thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or like to make comments on this? Anybody on Zoom, David?
No hands are raised.
Thank you. I'm going to close the floor.
Madam Chair, do we want to let the proponents respond to any of the?
Sure. Anyone from LG Everest want to respond to anything that was brought up?
Absolutely. I'll let Doug speak a little bit more on the blasting. truth is, yes, you do feel a shot, and when it goes off, that's why we want to give people notice so they're not startled. But we've been in compliance with all the standards, and essentially that is no damage to buildings. So while I can appreciate people being wary of feeling it and actually, you know, visually seeing some things maybe shake a little bit, fact is we're not really harming anything. So again, I'll let Doug speak to that a little bit more. As far as the property values and things of that nature, I think we all know that Sioux Falls properties are going up in value. The quarry has been here since the early 80s, and people have built around there since then. So again, I can't speak to what might happen in the future, but I think everything in Sioux Falls is pretty healthy at this point. Speaking to Mr. Nicolai, the hours of operation, this generally speaking, the 6 to 7 hour that we're asking for is to get traffic, the first round of trucks out before the morning rush. And that shouldn't affect any kind of school pickup or anything like that. I think we'd like to alleviate traffic during that 7 to 8 o'clock rush hour.
Rick, there's no blasting going on at that hour?
No. It's after 9 a.m. and before 3 p.m. is stipulated in the CUP, but we always shoot for noon if possible, which we've been very successful with since we switched contractors. Mr. Kreibel noticed about the berm, and I would mention that we do have a website that we will be posting these changes and things like that to the quarry and the blasts and everything we can on the website. So we're going to continue to improve our efforts to let the neighbors know what we're doing out there, and again, welcome any questions that they may have at that time. The permanent asphalt and/or concrete plant, as far as material that might be left over, that would remain on site and cleaned up and basically recycled. We've got a separate yard off-site that we would be able to recycle that material, so there would be no water or drainage issues there. And Doug, if you wanted to talk a little bit more about the blasting. Thank you.
Well, can I ask you one question before you?
Absolutely.
Have you been in contact with the DOT when they plan to make Highway 42 a 4-lane?
We have
and
been, yes, sir.
How is that going to affect you folks as far as getting trucks in and out of there?
You know, I don't think it would affect us other than there will be a median there. So that might be a little bit more of a corner for a truck to go around. You're going to have to wait your turn. I did ask them about the possibility of a light at the intersection, and they were pretty adamant against that right now. Who knows, in the future that might be a requirement, but we would like to widen the entrance a little bit, again, for safety, and we're going to, with the sign and things like that, they're in the proposal here, we're going to beautify that entrance and make sure that the safety factors are there as well.
Thanks.
Yep.
Doug Hoy, Sayre Associates, 3604 South Harmony Drive. I would like to address a couple of the comments that were made regarding the shots and the feeling of the vibration. I think it's quite safe to say it's impossible to do that shooting without anybody feeling it. There's good shots where you virtually, feel very little, but no one has ever told any resident that you will not feel anything from the shots. You'll feel a little bit. I think where the issues come in is the human perception. Humans are a lot more sensitive to a little bit of ground vibration and things like that than buildings are. You'll feel a little bit of a vibration, the human will, and honestly, the vibration levels that we're talking about here in most of these are less than a tenth of an inch, very small. I mean, you can make that much of a vibration walking across a floor on that. In the instance with Mr. Driscoll, I have a record of 3 shots that were monitored at his building, which is a very nice building. He's just put it up. One reading was .06, one reading was .08, and the other one was .04. Those are just above the threshold of being able to even monitor those. And I have not heard anything about damage to his building. And one thing I want to say too is LG Everest, and we're very open. If you suspect if you got questions about some cracks or damage, let us know. We'll be glad to come out and look at them and take a look at them. But I want to emphasize there's a lot of things that cause a crack in a building or a sheetrock screw or a sheetrock nail to push out a little bit. I mean, there's more things that cause cracks in homes. I live right by Harmon Park, and I've got a crack above one of my doors. And there's no quarry within 6-7 miles. It'd be this one, you know. So, a lot of environmental factors will do that to homes. To Jeff Kreibel, same thing. We've done 3 shots there. They've been very low, and I have no doubt in my mind that they can feel them a little bit. I've been down there on his property for 2 of the shots, and you can feel them. One is a vibration, one is a little bit of an air overpressure, or the pressure wave that comes from the shot. And yeah, Jeff and Deb can feel the shots a little bit, but they are down in that 0.03 and 0.04 and 0.06 rating. Very low, but yet sensitive to a human. You know, you can feel those things. As far as Welch is there, we're monitoring there, and their readings are, they're down there in the 0.17, 0.2. They're higher because they're closer. They're closer. And also, I would like to address Mr. Nielsen, I believe it was, with the shaking and settling of the pond. One thing we did talk about, if a nearby resident were to notify LG Everest of a low well or questions of a well, there are several wells in the area. We have monitoring wells or other wells. That's why that survey form was sent out, to register your well, to get an elevation, so we know where they're at. If somebody were to say that, I think you've done something to my well, we would definitely take note of that, come and take a look at the well, but then we also have other wells in the area to check, to make sure it's just not an isolated incident of the well, or is it happening regional wide, which would indicate very dry year and everybody's well might be going down a little bit. Or we've had comments on turbidity and sediment in wells. Personally, I have not been involved in any blasting operations over my entire career where we've really affected wells 1,000 feet or more away with the shaking and turbidity. There's a lot of things that affect wells too, but we would go and take a look at those and hire like possibly a well person or a person who not only drills a well but does maintenance on them, to take a look at it to see what the issues might be. But we're going to take a look at it and see what's going on. So if somebody has an issue, we're going to take a look at it and treat it as though, we're curious too. So all people have to do is notify LG Everest or myself. And one of the other items that we have offered and done 5 and will be 6 is precondition surveys of all the homes in Iverson Crossing, and I believe all the homes south and west of us too there. And so if there's something that you want us to come and take a look at, be glad to, or if you want us to come and videotape your house right now before things get rolling in the spring, that we'd be glad to take a look at that. There's one individual that actually, she had some, up in Iverson Crossing, had some questionable damage that she wasn't sure where it came from. People really don't start noticing the cracks until they feel something different. And then they start looking around and, well, was that there before? Well, I never noticed it before, this and things like that. There's a lot of reasons, but so we want to be a good neighbor and do those things. And if people have questions or we're glad to come and take a look at it. And if we need to, we'll have someone else take a look at it too. So all you have to do is contact us. But they are making a very good effort to be a good neighbor, be helpful, and be responsive. People just get madder and madder if they call and get no response. It never goes away. It just gets worse. Okay.
Have you had anybody from Kim Circle contact you about anything?
Kim Circle?
Yeah, the property just to the northeast.
No, I have not,
Okay.
Mr. Odie. I have not. That address is not familiar.
Okay.
It's on the map right there, actually. in
It's
the
the
upper
it's the
right-hand corner.
horseshoe up in the upper right.
Oh, right
corner.
there?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
And if I'm at the Red Rock Cafe and do a shot, does that mess things up for everyone?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, commissioners?
I'm interested in what other commissioners have to say, Madam Chair, but I wonder if we couldn't at least, you know, take care of that hours of operation, recognizing that, you know, I can see the benefit to the business to start earlier and to go longer on Saturdays, but I'm not sure that it's really necessary. Doug, what do you think?
Just thinking without really, could there be any differentiating summer hours versus like middle of the, you know, non-summer hours? I realize summer, you gotta get going. You know, other times of the year, maybe you could roll it back a little bit. That's one thing we could maybe change on that.
Yes, sir, it could certainly be seasonal.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And again, I want to stress that the 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. would be for loadout. So that means no blasting, no crushing, things of that nature. 7 to 7 would remain the same as far as operations go, other than loadout.
Okay.
You know, and I know that during the horrible weather we had a couple of years ago with all the water, I think we allowed the Del Rapids operations to go extra hours because we needed rock. And
Certainly a case like that could come up in the event of flooding or something like that, yes, and we did go to the commissioners and ask permission to do that.
Okay, any other commissioners have any comments about this?
I guess I'd like to comment on the hours too. I think starting early, get the trucks out probably before everybody gets going to work, I think a good idea if they're not gonna do any other operations except just getting the trucks out on the road.
And, you know,
I guess I can see the benefit of that, I guess.
I see that, but I also know Highway 42 is darn busy, starting at 5:30 in the morning, all the way till 8 o'clock. And when that gets to be 4 lanes, who knows? You know, you got people going out to this casino, coming back from the casino. What type of conditions are they gonna be in? You know, I guess I would like to see some change in the hours, seasonal. You know, I have no problem in the summertime, you know, starting at 6, but I think roll it back to 7 o'clock from, say, the end of October 1 till probably March 31st. I guess I should have made a motion on that to amend that to have seasonal hours in the summertime from April 1st to September 30th, 6 to 7. And then from October 1st to March 31st, from 7 to 7.
Fair enough.
Could that be changed within the conditions?
You could change it within the conditions.
Is that acceptable to
Revise.
you?
Yes.
And what about you, sir?
Yes, ma'am, that
Okay.
would be fine.
Okay.
So Doug, that was your motion?
That was a motion that I made.
All right, I guess I would second that, and move forward with a motion of approval with that condition.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'd like to just make a general comment. We're always better off when people talk to each other, and I appreciate the fact that all of these folks have had a chance to visit with each other.
Okay, on the table, I have a conditional use permit, 21-16. I have a motion and a second, along with the fact that that one condition was changed about the hours.
Chairman, the applicant also requested some changes on 20, what were the numbers?
27. 27.
And so I want to make sure we're clear on where you're going with that. If you're going to change them to accommodate the applicant, or if you're going to leave them as the staff had written them.
Good thing you brought that up. Commissioners?
That's that part below the line there that, on the one map. You know, I don't mind the idea of leaving that restriction on there and, you know, in a couple of years, we could change it, but, you know, for the neighbors, it's a little scary having it come that close, I think.
Any other commissioners have any comment on that?
I agree with Jeff over there. I think that's probably a good idea, just to leave it where it is, and if we want to come back and revisit it, I think we can do that. I know you don't want to come down farther, but I think it'd probably be maybe a good trade-off, I guess, with the neighbors and stuff, just keeping it right there for right now.
So may I just ask, I guess, what the difference is between the 1,000-foot offset for other businesses and then ourselves?
Well, that's a good point. I guess you got,
I'm Chris Klein, 1608 South Sunnyview Drive. I work for LG Everest. This line here, if the permit is approved as is, we're going to mine the rock up to this line. We have to take the sand and gravel off the top to even get to the rock. So, in our opinion, cleaning up, deleting 27 and just saying sand and gravel at 1,000-foot setback cleans that up, because either way, we have to get the sand and gravel off the top of the rock to get to the quartz site. So our opinion is it's better to go ahead and process it into something valuable, concrete, asphalt, aggregate, rather than backfill it as a waste product in another area.
So
That's all we're asking, is to combine the sand and gravel and the rock to that 1,000-foot setback.
So really by approving 24, we're already approving them to work in this area anyway. So
Yep.
it doesn't feel like 27 is really, removing that overburden is really a necessary requirement.
It is.
So
So with Doug's motion, and then are we going to acquiesce to the Everest request here on 24 and 27?
I guess in my mind, yes. I mean, if we're approving condition 24, we're in somewhat already approving the removal of 27, because he's going to take that overburden off anyway. So it's just a matter of him selling it or pushing it into a pile and then pushing it back in, so.
Correct.
So what exactly will our motion be?
So I guess, not to speak for Doug,
With
but
Doug's hours of operation and
removing 27.
removal of 27? I'll second that.
Okay.
You've got a motion on the floor, or you need to remove the previous motion before you take action. Either that or relabel the second motion the substitute motion.
Okay. Is that your
Okay.
substitute motion?
Where are we?
That would be my substitute motion to amend the conditions to Doug's hours of operation and remove condition 27.
Second.
Okay,
So we vote on the amendment then? And then we vote on the main motion. So, call the question.
call the question. Okay. Need a roll call vote. Jeff?
Aye.
Adam?
aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, now the main
Now the
motion.
main motion. Okay. Another roll call vote. Jeff?
Why do I always go first? Aye.
List. Adam?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Okay. That approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no old business? Okay.
So,
I just, whether it's old business or new business, I have made arrangements for some training to take place at your June meeting. East Dakota Water District, what's his name?
Water Development District, Jay Gilbertson.
Jay Gilbertson's going to come down, and he's going to talk about buffer strips and riparian. Buffer strips, they've been working on some projects along Skunk Creek, and I thought that might be of interest to you, because I know we have some people that sort of live in that area, talk about sort of the impacts, and also he's going to work in some shallow aquifers. We're going to talk about some wells and shallow aquifers and how they recharge and contamination. So that'll be in June, and that will be in person. Hopefully by then, we will be, you know, well into the shots, and it'll be able to, maybe it'll be a little easier. That's all.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Sorry.
Take just 30 seconds to introduce myself. My name's Eric Boger. I'm the new Chief Civil Deputy for the State's Attorney's Office. So I'll probably be the one coming. Drew's going to be doing, I think, some other things, but he and I may tag team a little bit, but I just wanted to say hello. And
You're
was
such a
probably
lucky
not the way I
guy.
wanted- What's that?
You're so lucky to come in and work with us.
Yeah, this was an interesting meeting to start with. So. But I've been in lots of long committee hearings before, so anyway, thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff,
Stand up.
roll call vote.
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Doug? Mike? Becky? Ryan?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Ooh.
First, because your name starts with